In the mountains of northern Japan, where the wind carried the scent of ancient cedar and the mist drifted like the breath of sleeping gods, there lived a young samurai named Kazuo Tanaka. He was 23 winters old, yet already his name was whispered in the valleys below. They called him the Wind Blade, because no eye could follow the arc of his sword. His strikes were faster than thought. His footwork left no trace in the snow. In the dojos of the lowlands, older warriors spoke of him with a mixture of pride and fear. But Kazuo was not proud. He was exhausted. Every dawn, long before the sun touched the peaks, he rose. He ran the narrow mountain paths until his lungs burned. He drew his katana 10,000 times until the muscles in his shoulders knotted like old roots. He sat beneath frozen waterfalls in nothing but a loincloth, letting the ice water scour his skin while he forced his mind into stillness. And for what? Victory tasted like ash. Respect from others felt like wind passing through an empty house. Each duel won only deepened the silence inside him. He had everything a warrior was supposed to want: skill, fame, a lord who praised him. And yet every night he lay on his tatami mat staring at the ceiling beams, feeling a cold hollow where his heart should have been. One winter, that hollow finally broke him. The duel was meant to be ceremonial. A visiting warlord wished to see the famous Wind Blade. The opponent chosen was Ryo Kuroda, a broad-shouldered samurai from the south whose arrogance arrived in the valley before he did. Ryo studied Kazuo for weeks, mapped every habit, every breath, every micro-movement. The duel began at sunrise on a bridge of black ice above a roaring river. Kazuo moved first. Lightning made flesh, steel flashed, sparks danced in the freezing air. But in the space between one heartbeat and the next, Kazuo hesitated. A single question flashed across his mind like a crack in a mirror. Why am I doing this? That half-second was enough. Ryo's blade slipped past his guard and opened a shallow cut across Kazuo's chest. Blood blossomed crimson against white snow. The crowd gasped. The warlord laughed behind his fan. Kazuo dropped to one knee, not from the wound, but from shame, heavier than any iron. He lost. That night, he did not return to his lord's castle. He walked into the storm without a cloak, letting the snow erase his footprints. For 3 days, he wandered, hungry, half frozen, half mad with questions. On the 4th morning, he stumbled down a hidden ravine and found a village no map had ever marked. 12 small houses clung to the slope like swallows' nests. Smoke rose lazily from thatched roofs. Children laughed somewhere distant. Beside the last hut, an old man was splitting firewood. He was small, weathered, barefoot despite the snow. His axe rose and fell with the patience of falling rain. Each swing perfect, each log parting as if it wished to be parted. Kazuo stood watching for a long time, snow gathering on his shoulders. Finally, he bowed so low his forehead touched the frozen ground. "Old master," he said, voice cracked from cold and despair. "I have mastered the sword, yet I have lost myself. I train without cease, yet I feel nothing. Tell me, how do I become whole?" The old man, Master Hoshin, did not answer at once. He finished splitting the log he was working on, set the axe aside and wiped his hands on his rough hemp robe. Then he reached into a pouch at his waist and drew out a single seed, no larger than a tear. "Plant this," he said. "Come back tomorrow." Kazuo stared at the seed. Part of him wanted to hurl it into the snow and demand real answers. But something in the old man's eyes, ancient, kind, unbreakable, silenced the protest. He planted the seed beside a tiny stream that ran clear even in winter. He pressed it into the dark soil with a finger that still trembled from shame. The next day, he returned. Nothing. The day after, nothing. A week passed, a month. Snow melted, cherry blossoms drifted like pink snow. Still nothing. Every morning, Kazuo climbed the hidden path to the village. He watered the bare patch of earth. He removed pebbles. He sat beside it in silence. One spring afternoon, the frustration finally exploded. "I have come every single day," he shouted, voice echoing off the mountains. "Nothing grows. This is meaningless." Master Hoshin was sweeping the porch of his hut. He paused, looked at Kazuo with gentle amusement. "And yet," he said softly, "you came." Kazuo opened his mouth, then closed it. A strange heat rose behind his eyes. "I came," he whispered, "because I wanted to see it grow." Master Hoshin smiled for the first time. It was small, but it warmed the valley like sunrise. "Then you already know your Ikigai," he said. "Your reason for rising, your reason for walking through snow and loneliness and doubt. You found it the moment you cared whether a tiny seed lived or died. The rest is only learning how to protect that caring." From that day, everything changed. Not dramatically, not all at once, but like dawn creeping over the peaks. Kazuo remained in the hidden village. He still trained, but now every strike carried intention. When he drew his sword, he was no longer proving something to the world. He was honoring the seed he had planted. He was honoring the quiet impulse inside him that refused to let it die. Master Hoshin taught slowly, in actions more than words. One day, he had Kazuo carry water for an old woman whose hands shook too badly to lift the buckets. Another day, he had him repair the shrine roof in the pouring rain. Another day, he sat with a crying child who had lost a wooden toy horse in the river. Each task felt beneath a warrior of Kazuo's skill. Each task rebuilt him from the inside. Months flowed like the mountain stream. The village children began following him, begging to hold his sword. He carved them bakken from fallen branches and taught them footwork in the meadow. Among them was a fierce 9-year-old girl named Aiko, who swung her wooden sword with such fury that the boys fled laughing. One evening, as fireflies rose around them, Aiko asked, "Why do we practice the same cuts every single day? It's boring." Kazuo knelt so their eyes were level. "Because the mountain does not become a mountain in one day," he said. "It is built by centuries of tiny grains of sand carried by the wind. Your skill is the same. Your heart is the same. One honest cut repeated with love is worth more than 10,000 cuts swung for glory." Aiko frowned, thinking hard. Then she nodded once and returned to her practice swings. Slower now, but truer. Far away in the lowlands, Ryo heard rumors. They said the wind blade had vanished. They said he was broken. They said he now lived like a peasant, fetching water and teaching children. Ryo's pride could not accept it. He gathered 30 armed men and marched into the mountains, determined to drag Kazuo back in disgrace, or kill him and prove once and for all who was superior. They arrived at dawn, armor clanking, banners snapping in the wind. The village square was empty, except for one man standing beneath the cherry tree, barefoot, wearing simple indigo clothes, a plain katana at his side. Ryo laughed when he saw him. "Look at you," he called, voice dripping scorn. "The great Kazuo Tanaka, reduced to a farmer. Come, one final duel. Let me end the legend properly." Kazuo regarded him calmly. "There was a time," he said, "when I would have killed you for those words. Today I only pity you." Ryo's face twisted with rage. He charged. What followed was not the flashing duel of heroes in stories. Ryo attacked with everything: speed, power, hatred. Kazuo simply was. He stepped half an inch to the side, and Ryo's blade cut air. He tilted his wrist, and Ryo stumbled past, off balance. Every attack met emptiness. Every killing intent dissolved into morning mist. The 30 warriors watched in uneasy silence. Finally, Ryo, panting, drenched in sweat, blade trembling in exhausted hands, screamed and lunged wildly. Kazuo moved for the first time. One step, one soft circle of the wrist. Ryo's sword spun out of his grip and buried itself in the earth. Kazuo's own blade rested gently against Ryo's throat, not pressing, simply there. The square was silent. Kazuo spoke so all could hear. Victory means nothing if no one is protected by it. Strength means nothing if it serves only the ego. Go home, Ryo. Find your own seed to plant, or spend the rest of your life swinging at shadows. He lowered his sword. Ryo fell to his knees, not from the wound. There was none, but from the sudden, terrifying realization of how empty his life had been. Something broke open in him that morning. He would later become Kazuo's first true adult, student. Seasons turned. The tiny seed finally sprouted. A slender green shoot, no thicker than a chopstick, pushed through the soil, trembling but defiant. Kazuo knelt beside it every morning, smiling the small private smile of a man who has discovered that the greatest battles are fought in silence, one sunrise at a time. Years passed like clouds across the moon. The hidden village became a place of pilgrimage. Warriors, merchants, broken ronin, lost children. All came seeking the man who had once been the Windblade, and was now simply Kazuo-sensei. He grew old. His hair turned the color of winter mountains. His hands, once lightning, now moved with the slowness of deep water. But his eyes burned brighter than ever. On the morning he knew would be his last, he gathered his students beneath the great cherry tree, now ancient and vast, that had grown from the same soil as his little seed. Aiko, now a master herself, stood at his side. Ryo, gray-bearded and gentle, held the youngest children on his shoulders. Kazuo looked at them all, dozens of lives he had touched, and spoke his final lesson. "I was once the fastest sword in Japan," he said, voice soft but carrying to the back of the crowd. "I thought speed was everything. I was wrong. The fastest thing in the world is not the sword. It is not lightning. It is not even thought. The fastest thing in the world is a heart that has found its reason to beat. Once that happens, mountains move without being asked. Rivers change course. A single seed cracks stone. Find your Ikigai. Protect it like the rarest treasure. Water it when no one is watching. Guard it when the whole world laughs. Because a life with purpose is a life the gods themselves cannot defeat." That evening, as the sun painted the peaks, gold and crimson, Kazuo walked alone to the stream where it had all begun. He sat beside the cherry tree, now towering, roots thick as a man's thigh, and closed his eyes. A gentle wind stirred the blossoms. Pink petals drifted down like snow, and somewhere inside his chest, the hollow space that had tormented him for so many years was gone. In its place grew something quiet, vast, and unbreakable. Kazuo Tanaka died as the last light touched the highest peak. They say if you climb those mountains on a clear night and listen very carefully, you can still hear it. The soft rhythm of a sword cutting air, deliberate and unhurried. Not practicing for victory, practicing for love. Practicing because a tiny seed once taught a lost samurai that purpose is not found. It is grown, one faithful day at a time. And that, my friend, is the only victory that never fades.